Discovered today that Ted has 6 inspirations, so hopefully...
Yeah.
This is a correct amount. I don't see what the problem is here.
Turns out I got like 3 of that in session, so...
Also, I love being indebted to the Bank of Ted. It's really great. Withdrawals at any time.
No interest.
No interest.
It's always I can recap.
It's always a matter of when did the session start for me. Like that's the piece that I never can get.
Yeah, me too.
I'm not saying anything, but like if you take notes, then
revolutionary.
Well, it's not that I don't remember. It's just that like I don't know. I don't remember when one stops and one ends.
Yeah.
That's why there are markings in my journal to denote between days and between sessions.
You draw a big line through it.
He draws curly cues. I think they're adorable.
That is for end of session, yes. They are. There's no curl for end of day. That way.
Yeah.
Okay.
Your last entry just says we're headed back to Luskin. I hate it here.
you just gave Torek 3 days on a pleasure cruise, and then he heads back to the fucking frozen north as a cold-blooded creature.
For the record,
place sucks.
For the record, you guys chose to go on the pleasure cruise.
Yeah,
that is.
High five, Doug.
Also, I doubt the pleasure cruise got much warmer.
It did only because there was a constantly available hot bath.
Get in here.
And there was a whole bunch of physical activity, including like conga dancing and
eating.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there was the post-meal torpor.
Shuffleboard.
Okay. Anybody want to recap, or do you want y'all want me to do it? I can do it.
Go for it.
Lucky number 7.
The way you said that was ominous.
We actually began with downtime. There was some people just looking for work to fill the time. Torek spent some time crafting ammo and experimenting with the gun that Inks retrieved from the Death House. Well, hold on, that's an actual thing. The Chompy House, the house that
Chompy
wants
house,
to
yeah.
eat people.
She has a name.
The house that hungers.
Did we ever actually learn the estate's name?
Moonvale Manor?
I'm pretty sure we
right.
knew it before we went to the
Yeah,
estate,
it was
but I don't know.
it was very murder mystery name.
Yeah, the worst part is that's definitely in my notes now that you say it, but I didn't read that far, so.
Because we went and asked around about the estate.
Yeah, definitely did. So we went to talk to Lauxius and found him speaking to a woman with dark skin and sparkling eyes. There was a heat radiating off of her. They were going over some sort of scroll. He signed it before she turned and left, which turned out to be the agent of... I have the name. Spark of the Western Flame. A powerful elemental entity who is looking for someone to recover a cache of relics and artifacts which have been taken over by a water genie named Feldrick and his crew of other water creatures, potentially including Tritons. I have it in my notes that there's definitely one, but I think if I remember correctly that was sort of an inferral on my part.
Yeah, I think Mel made an inquiry of like, why not get somebody better suited, like that can breathe underwater, like Tritons. And I think Loxia said something to the effect of like, well, it would be silly for her to employ the people who are keeping this cache. So
exactly. Our potential reward for such a job would be for each of us to take any one item from the cache.
Do you want to
Took some time to convince Haza and Oz, but they came around. So we went to Nick and Knack to see about breathing underwater. Ordered a scroll of water breathing, picked up a few potions, and then set about seeing into transportation to the location. We had been given a map, and depending on the boat that we chose, could have taken between 3 and 5 days to get out there. We settled on the Storm Cutter, a war vessel of the Luxron Corps, captained by Ernid the Keen. Oz did some asking around, found out he's fairly reliable, earned his title. Oz says he's reliable, earned his title, and stands by it. Not to mention he's just plain good at his job, which is apparently state-sponsored violence. He's a privateer.
Yeah.
yeah, state-sponsored violence.
It's where this
Oz and
place made their
piracy.
fucking money. Like,
Yeah, this used to be a pirate stronghold, essentially.
It's piracy. It's violence, but cooler and more flashy.
Oz and Inks are determined to get us on the Bachelorette pleasure cruise. This sounds like a warm blood thing. Guess we'll find out in 2 days.
Foreshadowing.
Yeah. Oz booked 3 days and 2 nights, but we had to disarm and de-armor. It was during that time that we were informed that Jack is not where he was supposed to be, that Midwinter never made it back to either the Green Court or the Court of Hags. No real details, no retails on what happened. They've tried to communicate with him, but no luck so far. Then we negotiated a bit to sort of take the trip and see what happens, see if we ever hear back from the court. Basically cleared it with the captain that if something came up, we might be able to turn around, or we would not be very far at the very least. Nothing did, and the whole crew enjoyed various portions of the of the pleasure cruise, from deep sea fishing to buffet to being waited on hand and foot for inks to weird bipolar bathing from Haza. Hot water, cold water, hot water, cold
Not
water.
inaccurate.
To just general hedonism and debauchery on Mel's part, and then Torque just trying just shy of everything. But that lasted for the 3 days, and then we had just docked back in Luskin. It is the 28th of, well, it was the 28th of chess when we returned to Luskin.
Yeah, which means there's only 2 more days of this month.
Correct.
Whoever gives a shit about that. Yeah, so you guys are returning following this would be like the later half of the day, with less snowfall, just gray clouds above and peaks of sunlight coming through. The seasons are moving, albeit slowly. I know last time I started with like, what do you guys want to do? But like, you guys have more time until your scroll is ready. So what do you want to do?
I guess I gotta pick something up with Nick and Neck anyway, so I'll stop to see what other pseudo rubbish new things they've come up with.
Cruel, you wound me.
They're incredible, and I love every one of them dearly.
I
But
appreciate that.
they are very knick-knack.
I do not have anything new in
Yeah, it's been like 3
stock.
days. I don't know what we've never like checked what their turnover rate is, because usually like we're leaving town and coming back.
Yeah, and that'll maintain, but Nicholas and Knackery, Chicanery, and Bedevilments maintains their current standing list of offerings,
Mhm.
which is pretty good, some of them on here. The Mithril half plate has not sold. I think you had your eyes on that.
I gotta think about it.
But you can acquire your component.
Music going.
Yep.
Anyone else have any directions or ways to while away the hours? What was that, Mel?
I was thinking.
Okay.
That's why it sounded so painful.
If we have nothing, we can send you guys on to the end of your waiting period. I think I would just ask Inks if there is anything else you are specifically working on.
How many days until the thing's ready or we're leaving?
You have 4 days.
I guess I'll dedicate that to my poisoner stuff.
Okay, so you're going back to school.
Yep.
Okay. I think I'll give this to you while you're here. Are you, given the community that you are currently studying with, are you social with them often, or do you think you are more reserved and just work?
I don't expect her to be like super standoffish or anything like that,
Uh-huh.
but like I don't think she maintains close friends from the group.
Okay.
She's still kind of an outsider, but like she's on friendly terms, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Um, she's had bouts of in and out nosiness, which is why I think this might be more interesting to her. do you think like she's a casual eavesdropper?
Yeah.
Okay. Doug, I love you. I know that's just Doug saying,
Well,
yeah.
so at first it was like, "Ooh, that sounds interesting," and then what took me a second is like, "But what inks?" And then I'm like, "What the fuck would stop her?"
um, this isn't me prying just so I can like give you information, but
Yeah,
give you opportunities to think about the character as well.
yeah.
And I think for that, in your time here, um, you hear some people who are kind of aghastedly, like, kind of gossiping about the uh, the dead body that got found in the Ilisk ruins recently, like a couple of days ago. Um, Most people don't go into the ruins. That's very, very dangerous. But you catch wind that some regular patrol, who was beat cops wandering, happened to see what looked like a fairly fresh, like an unrotted corpse that was like not terribly far from the like outer rings of the ruins, uh and like apparently there's some form of ongoing investigation. um I think that would catch your attention because that is out there. I mean, you guys live in a fantasy place where murder can happen and shit, but like within cities, murder usually shouldn't happen, especially as well policed as Luskin is. Jesus.
So, I was about to correct you on your own thing. I'm like, really? Yeah, I think she'd. Is it? This isn't something. No, this is like very recent, so it's not something we would have come across while we were over there.
Yeah,
It's not.
yeah,
Yeah, this is all new information to me.
yeah.
Okay, cool. Yeah, so
Mhm.
she'd make her way over there.
Okay.
Hey, sorry, I just happened to overhear. What are you guys talking about?
Oh, come take a seat. I mean, it's kind of new. My cousin who works with the captain's court was telling me about it. A couple of days ago, like 2 days back, I think. Um, they found a body, like a recent body. I think he said like it had been like stabbed and stuff. Like it was apparently like a pretty scary thing. Um, just kind of dumped in the ruins. Um, that's kind of all that I really know, but like, isn't that crazy?
That's so crazy.
I mean,
Did
like, if
they?
you go in, like, you kind of are asking for it, but like, I don't think you die like, 10 feet within, I think, unless you're scared by ghosts or something.
Hmm, yeah, I mean, there may be dangerous creatures on the shore, but who knows? Um, do they happen to mention the race of this person?
I think I just said, like, he was like a tall folk.
Mm, yeah. Um, there weren't any missing like pieces, were there?
Oh, I hope not. Oh, that's so gross.
Yeah, no, I have kind of a grim sense of humor. It's doesn't always serve me well.
Oh, careful. If you add too much of that hemlock, it'll kind of upset the balance. Here, you need a little bit more of. Here's some more base for you.
Oh, thanks. I should study with you more often. What was your name?
Uh, Mick.
Mick.
Yeah.
Nick and Mac.
I wasn't expecting to name this person, so.
As soon as I did it, I was like, "This is exactly what my fucking characters do that I fucking hate." I'm like, "Oh no, leave me alone. I don't have a name." Um, uh, yeah. Who'd you hear this from?
So I have a cousin who works for the captain's court. I mean, he says he's important, but like, she kind of like waves her hand. Um, uh, his name is. I need a goblin name generator.
Look, these
I'm not
moments are
doing
what
this to be
lead
an
to me
asshole.
having these are the moments that lead to me having a character in a game, a first mate named Merced Fate. So
His name is Rolled. I've decided. Not a
How
traditional goblin name.
do you spell it?
Rolled.
You know what? Hold on.
ROALD.
Hold on.
I got an
Roll.
email
Okay.
today from a sales assistant named Torsten. Torsten's a pretty good name.
Torsten.
Yeah, his
Sounds
name
like
was
a
like
centaur.
Torsten Breeze.
Sorry, how do you spell the name?
ROALT.
Rolt. Beautiful.
Sorry, just making a note. Cool. Tight.
I was so
Yeah.
good at naming things like 4 months ago, and then I didn't think about it at all for this. It's fine.
Do you think so? I'm actually a part of a group that kind of looks into stuff like this. Do you think Rolt would be open to talking to me?
I mean, probably. I mean, I don't think he's necessarily allowed, but I mean, he did tell me, and I've told this whole table, and everyone kind of like giggles.
Don't ask me why. I just giggled.
You were immersed.
Okay, and no, I got nothing. Cool. All right, well, I'll take your help more with this poisoning stuff. It's all like really new to me. I just started, so be nice to have a friend to help out with.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. So let me show you what I've got going, and then she'll like sit you down and like work with you for the rest of the workshop.
And now I have a mentor. Yeah, cool. I don't think she Jinx is kind of going off of that. She doesn't know much else, so like she'll just save that information until when she sees everybody.
Okay.
And I'll just keep going about my day.
Okay. Just making notes of these people I've added to your backstory now. Yeah. Okay. So you say you share that information.
Yeah.
Okay.
If we're all together, right?
Yeah, I don't see why you guys wouldn't have like periodic meetups.
Yeah. Hey guys. So I was in class today and I heard over from a friend of mine that they actually found a body outside of the place of name that escapes me.
The Illisk ruins.
Ellis Ruins, thank you. Yeah, apparently somebody was stabbed over there. I know it's kind of like just gossip, but we seem like the type to kind of look into those types of things. So I thought if it was interesting to me, it might be interesting to you guys.
I mean, especially with having learned recently that a contact of mine went missing shortly after leaving here. That
Yeah, I didn't get any information on the race. They just said taller folks, so that's not helpful at
yeah.
all.
I mean, this is all supposition, but definitely something I'd like to look into. I think.
Yeah, I have a name with someone in the captain's corps. We can go together.
I think that would be very productive.
I'm game, I think. We don't really have anything else to do. And also, it would be good to know if I guess there's only one person has died, right?
Yes,
Not like a killer. Okay.
not like a string of murders now.
Yeah, maybe it turns into one or
Locals, correct me if I'm wrong, but aren't those ruins full of things that should be put to rest,
Yeah, they're fucking awful.
Yeah,
like undead and stuff.
they're super dangerous.
Yeah, they're a fucking mess.
Yeah. I'll remind you they're right across the market from where you all like to stay.
Well, yeah.
Honestly, it's sort of amazing that more people aren't dead.
I mean, you just know not to do it, right? Like, just
I mean, I will say, as someone who's not from around here, I have not had a day pass that I wasn't very tempted to go waltzing into that place. So,
Yeah, that's a bad idea.
And you're the
Yeah.
smart one here. Okay.
well, I
Hey,
haven't.
I
I
mean,
haven't. So there's that.
its existence does kind of like self-select out the people that aren't going to make it living near it, right? Because
All right. Listen, before anyone else says anything that they might come to regret later, a bit of personal history. My sister and my mother died in those ruins. They died there looking for me when I ran away from home because I was grounded. It was, well, how many years ago is complicated given my increase in age. So it's when I was 14. So a while ago, I'm sure, other than the fact that the ruins are extremely dangerous, not really related to individual who died here, but just felt like people were starting to make comments about the intelligence or worthiness of people that might go poking around in the ruins, and figured make sure everyone has all the information they need before they say anything.
I was saying I'm surprised they haven't built a wall to keep stuff in, but point taken.
also, yes, thank you. I would have continued probably shoving my foot deeper into my throat had you not interjected. So,
Oh, no harm. Just
I mean, some harm. I am sorry. Just thank you for letting me keep it to minor harm instead of major harm.
no worries.
Yes, well, we've got a few days. Maybe go see what we can learn. I'm not saying we, try to solve a murder, but maybe get a little more information.
I guess it'd be good to start with if they know why the person was in there. I guess it would be good mask for a murder to kill them in a dangerous place that is known for being dangerous, right? You get to just pass it off as the place and not, you know.
investigate further.
It would, but also let's not forget the fact that it's an insanely dangerous place,
Yeah,
and it's much more likely that someone went in there for Lord knows what reason and got themselves killed than it is that they were murdered and the murderer dragged their body into there to cover it up. I'm
true.
not saying that the latter isn't the case, just that an area that's insanely dangerous and someone ends up dead, it's probably because of the dangers within the area.
Yeah, I mean, if you're brave enough, a place that no one's supposed to go, or no one's likely to go, is a good place to hide something. Yeah, let's go speak to your contact and Inks, and maybe we can learn a little something. I don't know how private with information they might be around here, but you know,
Yeah, they may be more tight-lipped
mhm.
uh,
Perhaps if
than my friend, but at the same time,
if I offer up that someone I know has gone missing, perhaps they might key in, looking for a lead or something.
mm,
So less people would probably be better. so as to not spook, or would more people be better? Because then they'll be more likely to think we'll actually get something done about it.
I was
Maybe
thinking
we-
having yeah, sorry about that. I was thinking having my God, names. Hello. Oz with us. You have I so sorry, we're just so hard right now. Authority. That may open up their lips.
Be happy to help.
Is
Honestly, now that
anyone not interested in going? I mean, we might as well show a combined. I was going to say force, but I don't want to sound threatening. A combined unit, cohesion, effort.
No, I'm interested in going. If
Mhm.
nothing else for the bookkeeping.
I'll go. Maybe some of us stay outside while you're having the more intimate conversation.
Mhm. I guess it does depend on how large the room is. All right. Well, sounds like everyone. I mean, Torque, I don't think you've chimed in, but Mel says she's going. So,
Yeah, I'm all for it.
all right.
Wait, are we going to the ruins or are we going to the morgue?
Contact first.
Yeah, not the.
That makes the
rules.
most sense.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll say that this is the just so days do not get confused. You had your last day on the boat, got home, evening, and this next day would have been when the day following would be when Inks has gone to classes.
Mhm.
Um, uh, that said, Inks is in class all day, so the day is ending. Office hours for the captain's court are probably coming to a close, so you can go either try to catch him on his way out or just wait till tomorrow when he would definitely be around.
my suggestion is to wait.
Yeah, never good form to just barge in unannounced.
Also, they might have more information in the morning.
That is true.
All right. Mostly vocalizing all of that for the sake of the timekeeping. The next day, you can all get together and head to the captain's court, where most of the city business is maintained. There are a lot of staff that are kept here and asking around. Like you say, you're looking for a goblin named Rolt, which kind of leaves you within, I think, a spiral of trying to figure out who you might be looking for a while. But within 20-30 minutes, someone is able to like take you to a smaller office on the campus to this little goblin gentleman who has a larger space than he is in need of, but still utilizes fairly well. In the compound where a lot of the like investigators and like uh criminal documentation tends to take place in the buildings that are in the court. He certainly seems surprised to have guests. You have a little fellow with a scrappy hair and glasses that sit on the top of his head. He seems well dressed, but maybe not very well paid by his clothing, and looks up early in the morning, kind of blinks, and says, uh, "Didn't you already come through here?" And he points the end of his pen at Mel.
I'm sorry. Me?
No, your order members.
Oh, did we? Was it the local chapter?
I would assume, yes. Are you not with them?
No, I'm actually from Neverwinter, but that's not exactly why we're here. She kind of like nudges Inks.
Hi, my name is Inks. I know a cousin of yours, Mickey.
Oh my god. Pinches the bridge of his nose.
Yeah,
No, you can't see the dead body.
no, absolutely not. Although we do have some
Hyacinth kind of just
questions
like,
about it,
well,
if you're willing to field those. Uh, See, we're a group that kind of deals with weird stuff like this, so we're
I
hoping for
can't
some cooperation.
contract with private contractors until I have authority from the city.
Okay, well, what if just a scrappy group of adventurers went on their own to figure out what it was? And if you think about it, the less information that we have going in, the more likely you're gonna have more bodies to deal with.
Okay, whoa.
I want an intimidation check.
Hazel, let's see how this plays out. Let's see how this plays out, Hazel. Just wait. She might be
God.
onto something.
I was hoping for persuasion, but I will go. They're the same score, so. And here we go. Oh my god!
that's not fucking bad.
Right?
Okay, please, just like I said, I can't contract with private use, and he gestures to the group of you. But we did send the body for internment temporarily, temporarily with members of, and he gestures again to Mel. They do a good job of keeping things where they're supposed to be until we can get better information. Sometimes they'll even, provided circumstances like this one, ask on our behalf questions about the situation.
I'm going to ask our obvious question here. You said we can't see the body, but we have. Look, I can't do this clever. Is this body a satyr or what?
He kind of flushes a little bit, and says, "Who told you?"
Oh, fuck.
God.
I figured
hold
we
up.
were going to otherwise just stand here running in circles. So
Yeah,
well,
that's fair.
My next question was what was his
thanks
race,
for
but
expediting it. I was going to get there soon. My name is Hyacinth. I am an Eladrin from the Green Court. I believe contact of mine recently went missing. He was traveling from here back to the Feywild and never made it back. When we heard that there was a body, it felt like too much of a coincidence that it might be him. His name was Jack. Given this information, is there any way that we would be able to see the body to? Oh, well, I guess you don't have it anymore. Just to confirm that it's the same satyr. How many satyrs are there? Are there satyrs here often?
Not here. Uh, Listen, I'm being serious. I can't privately contract with any of you, but
Mhm.
you, and you again points to Mel. If your chapter members, brothers, sisters, whatever, if they'll speak with you, that's something that's beyond my regulation. That's over me.
One more question. Y'all didn't happen to recover a sword that was very cold, did you? No.
No.
Okay.
It's just
Was
sitting
that
on his desk.
important?
Very important. Yes.
It's in a drawer.
Probably, if it is the same person, which it probably is, it's probably what they were killed for. Probably. It's also position. Okay. Well, Mel, do you think we can go speak with the Scriveners?
Yes,
Hey,
absolutely.
before we go running out of here, can you tell us about where in the ruins the body was found? Maybe we can take a look. We have context y'all didn't have when you were doing the investigation in the first place.
Yeah,
You're not contracting. We are not working for you. We're doing this entirely on our own.
I can't, in
You're
good
just-
conscience, tell
Look.
people where to go into the ruins of Ilisk.
Okay, no, you're not understanding me. If you tell us where it is, we can just go there. Otherwise, we're gonna pour over the entire fucking ruins looking for the artifact that was not with the body that was just mentioned by the blue skin elf over here. Blue skin now? Yeah, blue skin.
Yeah, yeah. Northwest side near the river. I
Northwest side near the river.
I
Appreciate it.
can't give you much more than that. I
Well,
wasn't
I
there.
assume there were a bunch
location.
of I assume there were a bunch of investigators and people taking the body out. It shouldn't be too hard to track that big of a group coming out of the northwest corner.
If the snow might still hold some footprints.
Appreciate the help.
Don't die and then get me in trouble, please.
Well, we won't leave a note, so
I promise leave your name out of any speak with the dead spells.
Yeah, that again, his his gaze falls on Mel.
right. Yeah.
I'm also I'm guessing you care a little bit more about the latter than the former. I mean, if
My
you only had to choose
responsibility is
one.
still my responsibility is still safety of this city, but if you're determined to go and jump into a realm of undead, then I can't really, barring arresting you, I can't do anything about it, and I don't feel comfortable doing that either, given the situation. You apparently know more about this than I do in some regard.
Yep. Just trying to take some of this off your plate, that's all. Hey, we find something, you'll know.
Don't beef it, please.
That's some sort of goblin slang I'm too kobold to understand.
He nods. And he actually goes and starts making some notes in a book that opens up on his desk, and he starts scribing.
Well, have a lovely day. Is this the preferred time to visit your office, or is there a better time?
Given the case, just I'm here from sun up to third watch. That's mid afternoon.
Noted. Okay.
Okay, well, we'll likely be back one way or the other.
I would prefer to see you
yeah.
alive. Yes, that'd be great.
Us too.
You guys leave.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, ruins first, or talk with the
Scriveners, just so
yeah.
we have more information before we dive into the ruins.
do we call them
Yeah.
your brothers and sisters, or your organization, or
Scriveners
just the Scriveners?
of Doom, if you are feeling it.
No
But
Scriveners of Doom.
not they're not mine, they're Yurgles. Anyways, yes, let's go to the temple.
Any big things not to talk about that you've done? Like any big embarrassing? This is like visiting the parents and not.
No, I've been conducting my work quite efficiently, actually.
Okay,
I'll have you know.
great. I don't know how like stuffy they are. You like maybe they wouldn't like it that you drink sometimes.
No, that is none of anybody's concern, really. It's not. We are not well, I guess some of us are, but we're not like we don't preach vows of celibacy or sobriety. Most of us just don't partake because, most of them are stuffy in the way that they're just a little bit more apathetic than I am in general. So, that's all.
That is helpful information.
Okay.
As we're walking
And
over there,
eh,
I'll sort of hang back and pull Haza aside. Look, Haza, as a local, I feel I should let you know. You've probably picked up here in Luskin, with all of the bureaucracy and whatnot, we're fond of our acronyms and initialisms. Whatever you do not refer to the Scriveners as the Sods.
Her face just immediately goes slack for a second. Fuck, that's good. Oh shit.
No, it's
Fuck,
I
that
mean
is
it's really
I
not, given
didn't.
that we're going to meet with them now.
I
That's what
know,
they're
and I
called
wasn't.
generally around town, but I
I
don't know if
didn't.
you heard it or not, but not to
I
their
hadn't.
faces.
I hadn't, and now I
A little
appreciate. It was a good warning in case I hadn't heard, but now that I heard it from you,
Oh, for fuck's sake.
yeah.
Forget I said
Look,
anything.
I can control myself. It's fine. That's just really good, and I can't believe I didn't hear it before.
okay. You guys, you guys, I remember we put it in like the like this area of town, but I think it'd be well suited to move up across the river. So you guys can take the Harbor Cross Bridge into the grave.
How's the river today? Doing good? Choppy?
The river's fine. To the to the graveyard that is maintained by a very, very small, like the building itself is tiny. It's not a temple. It is a church with a shrine that has two working scriveners in it, and they're like their collaborative archive. Um, uh, which Mel has visited now a couple of times, I believe, and brought most of you.
Once.
Yeah. uh, uh, their hoods drawn, wearing all black with some like finer brown stitching into a lot of their into a lot of the heavy fabrics. One of them draws back their hood. A drow woman who looks quite young. Has her hair pulled back behind her ears, says, "Welcome. Is there anything else that we can provide for you, Melixitha?"
I was made aware that there was a recent death in the Ilskruns. Um, my associates here, um, were wondering if we could, perhaps see the body. We have some very important business, and it is important that we confirm the identity of the individual who died. If you do have records, those would be useful to us as well, mostly to me, but
She nods. She says, "We have an interesting case in this instance where the scripting of this name would not align with the ordination of our order, but you may come and see." Um,
Oops, I didn't mean to click that.
okay. I was like, "What are you doing?" She brings all of you inside. It is cramped in the very small living space of this tiny, tiny, tiny building. Um, uh, and you see the shelves are lined with, they look like wine bottle storage, but it is just filled with scripts and scrolls. And the higher up they go, the more like wilted ash these scrolls appear to be. Um, Once you are inside, she takes you to where it looks like she's probably taking you towards uh, private chambers. You see that the two little bedrooms are off to one side, but at the end of the hall is a flight of stairs that goes down. It is stone and cold, and there are no lights. She begins to walk down with confidence. I will give anyone the opportunity to nope the fuck out of that if they'd like to.
Mel's right behind her. Day in the office.
It's good to be home.
Yeah, it's nice to feel the musky breath,
Omnipresent musk.
The dry
musky
air.
presence
Ugh.
of catacombs and junk.
All right, sounds like everyone's chill hanging out in a crypt. Let's go. Down you go, not very far below the surface, but the temperature noticeably does still. Unlike the cold from the outside and the wind, you feel now here just the cold of being in a stone cavern. You see that it is immaculately carved and that there are, from the stonework of the ground, slabs and what is it called? I was gonna say that's not the right word. Tables where there are bodies that are shrouded in black material laid out, several in rows, and the rows kind of just keep going back until you can't see any farther in the darkness. And those of you who have dark vision can kind of feel that you should be able to see farther than you currently are. Um, uh, but your vision is obscured. She takes you to the third table in, um, and stands on one side of it, and she says, "This is the body that you are seeking." She withdraws the shroud. You see the sepulchral face of Jax, who has like two copper coins placed upon his eyes. She says, "He is without our." What is, these words are not coming to me. Delegation.
Him being Fey and all.
She nods.
Yeah, I kind of figured. Well, what are your plans to with the remains?
The questions we have asked of him did not leave us with an appropriate course of action, and so natural decomposition is our current intention.
Were you aware of any items that he was carrying on his person, or was everything stripped before you found him?
His effects contained the articles of clothing he was wearing, limited though they were, and a pouch of casting components. Chalk, some gems.
Interesting. Well, if I may, I might have a bit more insight. Or rather, I have some investigative questions to ask. Because there was an important effect of his that you have not mentioned that I believe might have been lost or stolen that is important to return to the Feywilds, apparently.
She nods and says, "Naturally, Scrivener, we may ask as many questions as may be necessary to put this soul to rest, but it will be 8 days before we will be able to ask any more."
She nods and turns to the rest of the party. So, we got the identity. It is Jax.
Hmm.
What he was doing in the ruins, I cannot guess. However, somebody earlier mentioned the possibility of him being taken there to be hidden and it framed as a one of the undead that roam the grounds did it instead of being murder. So since there might still be footprints or other evidence around, I think that's our next stop.
If I may, Melixitha, there are some answers you seek that we were able to ascertain in our own inquiry.
Oh, do share.
She goes to reach for the shroud again and begins to draw it down, but then stops and then draws it back over his face, and says, "The body was found with many mortal wounds in the lower abdomen. When asked, he said he was faced with a foe in darkness and was struck several times. He was aware that he was within the city when this happened, but was not far from civilization, still within the city walls and still with the sounds of revelry not far from where he was."
That's interesting. I would assume that the ruins of Ilisk do not really have those ambient sounds, correct? I'm not really a local.
She nods to you. He described a face of obscured by a feathered mask and a shroud of white feathers. It gleamed in the moonlight.
Well, I thank you for your diligence and for your cooperation, and we will return if we don't have anything within those 8 days. But
She
I believe we have
nods.
some work to do.
Would you prefer that this body be maintained until you have the opportunity to return?
Yes, if we make any headway into this case and my associates end up finding answers, I will I will notify you so you can let the decomposition process resume. Until then, yes, please.
She nods, and you see her hands pass over the body as she murmurs something. The air, though deeply still, seems to become very loud with the sound of its silence. You feel the reverberation of the stone and the earth around you. Just briefly, as she casts gentle repose.
Well, oh, and do keep an eye on the body. The artifact in question was very valuable, and I am not sure if we might have been watched because we are with or were with this individual for a very short time. But keep an eye on it, as I know you do always.
She nods and gives you a smile, and then leads you all back up to the surface.
What can I ask? What else you asked the body?
In total, we asked his identity,
Mhm.
his intention for his deceased body, and the nature of the end of his life. If there were anyone that we may contact for his retrieval, and finally, in curiosity, for the sake of the investigators, if he knew anything of the feather-masked individual.
Okay, thank you. I just was curious. That's all.
She nods.
I assume he did not know anything of this feather-masked individual.
Unfortunately, it seemed unfamiliar to him.
Mm-hmm. Thank you.
All right, where are you guys headed?
Well, with this information, I can assume that he didn't die in the Illisk ruins, correct? Would that be too far of a bridge, or am I correct in that assumption?
I mean, going
Or
off
at
of
least,
sounds of revelry, he left, while we were, after a night of us reveling. So perhaps
that
he did
means
not
he
make
could
it
have
far.
been. Yeah, that's what I was thinking. However, since there were footprints near the ruins, it wouldn't go amiss to check that lead. But, you are right. I am going to wager a guess that he didn't make it far.
I think I will send along what information we have gathered so far and let them know what we have found. I do not know if heading into the dangers of the ruins is worth what we might find there. It sounds as though there's not much there to find at this point. But
Yes, granted, I did mean on the outside, leading up to them, going near, but not inside.
mhm.
Well, why not? I mean, I know they're
Well-
dangerous. I brought that up before, but we probably have context, especially Hyacinth. You're from the same organization. There's probably context that the investigators didn't have. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
Yes, correct. But since his murder happened outside, I'm not sure what we would find inside. We might find some useful tidbits. I guess on the
I mean,
premises.
I assume that the killer didn't wait till that he didn't wait till Jack's body was dragged into the ruins to take the blade. He could have just taken the blade and pissed off and left Jack to bleed out in the streets.
You
So,
are right.
There's
How
that.
and as much as I would love to purge some undead, I do feel like if it is as dangerous as everyone else says, it might be out of our depth somewhat if we just go in without a reason. So I would like to keep it as, I suppose, necessary as possible, and save venturing inside for a last resort, if that makes sense.
I think our strongest lead is this feathered mask, shroud of white feathers. If we can see if there's any knowledge of that, perhaps Rolt may have heard of something. Someone described that way in a previous case or something.
Well, if I may, returning to Rolt might not really yield the answers you're looking for. The Scriveners have already parted with that information
Mm-hmm.
to the investigators. They're not going to keep anything from them.
Yeah.
So if he did know the individual, they would be searching for that individual.
Mm-hmm. Well, let me pass along this information, and perhaps, who knows, maybe they'll know of a white figure or something.
That is a good idea.
Maybe that's a symbolism of something I'm unfamiliar with. So yeah, I'll cast Sending.
We have reconciled this as well.
Yeah. So yeah, I'll cast Sending to Zinnia. Jack's body has been found. He was killed by a figure in a feathered mask and cloak of white feathers. Midwinter, not with body.
The response is fair work, Seeker. Should more information arise, please notify. Your instructions remain.
Yeah. Okay, so nothing right off the bat, but if they find anything out, I'm sure they'll let us know. I think we shouldn't let this, take priority over our commitments already. But if we can just go look around and see if we can learn anything while we've got the time, I would appreciate that.
Certainly.
All right. Where does that leave you guys for the next 2 days?
Oz has a couple places he's going to put out some feelers about this individual wearing a white feathered mask and robes.
Mhm.
He'll stop by the Tower Breakers at some point and, just ask Cran to reach out to the head office and see if there are any known individuals or organizations that wear that sort of garb. He will also stop by his house using his disguised self scroll to make himself look now 3 years younger before he goes home. And he'll talk to his dad and just ask his dad to make the same inquiries with the BMMM.
Okay. Your dad tells you look like you need to sleep more.
I just realized I was muted.
Oh no. What are you doing?
I just wanted to ask Hyacinth, are you sure this shouldn't take precedence? Because they know we've lost like a very dangerous artifact.
Yes, well, we've signed a contract. I cannot and shall not, turn my back on such a thing.
Also, just
True, but did we
a
have a
quick
specific?
quick
Go
correction.
ahead.
We didn't lose anything.
I mean, true, we
Agreed.
don't have full capability here, but I do think it is somewhat of our responsibility to relocate it. Knowing what we know.
Yes, and if I remember correctly, the contract stated the breaking of the contract was only about the, I guess, greed in
And also,
terms of taking more items from this individual's hoard than we are allowed, and not the actual completing of this task at hand. There is no time limit, there is no anything like that. I could revise it or go over it rather, if that would make you feel more comfortable pursuing this lead, but I don't imagine that we have too much to fear here.
I have not been given the directive to pursue this more fully by my organization. Not only, the contract is one thing. Having told Loxius, that's the wrong name. What's his name? Dragonborn.
Loxias, yes,
Mhm.
you
Okay,
got it
that
right.
sounds like another name from another thing, and so I thought I had messed it up. I've told him that we will be doing it, and so, I would like to pursue and learn as much as we can. This is not a paying job. We have other obligations, and I don't intend to, have all of you put everything down to help with this. As Oz pointed out, it is not us who lost the thing. It is just an unfortunate.
what I said last, I didn't mean like we're personally responsible. I meant at one point we knew and now we don't.
Mhm. I think
True.
that we as a group are the most not adept, the most well placed to figure out what has happened and to pursue this. We, as Torek has said, we have the most context. We know more about what's going on. We are the closest to it. So, if we can pursue it, I would. But I just mean to say that we do not need to put the rest of our lives on hold for it.
Yeah, and this will be the last thing I say about it. I think Hyacinth, it's ultimately your decision if you want to push it or not. But we know exactly where we're going with this contract. With the lost artifact, the longer we wait, the further away it is potentially.
I mean that's true, but uh, if there are beings that can travel to other planes, it doesn't really matter how far they went, does it? Because they're not on the Hyacinth, you came from a different plane, correct? And
Yeah,
so did your associate.
this, the sword could very well be anywhere else by now. But
I I second Oz's opinion in that it isn't our responsibility that it was lost. It is probably a public good to find it and to resolve that. But does your organization not have anyone else capable of investigating this beyond like here, this city?
I'm sure they do, and I'm sure that is being done.
Okay, that's just what
So
I wanted to. Without knowing very much about your organization, I don't know to what degree you're the only person on this, or
mm,
there's more resources. Like, I don't honestly think we're the best qualified for this, even though we're the most intimately familiar with the here of it.
yes, which is largely why just gathering as much information as we can gather and passing that along is all that I am hoping to do. Um, if if the sword is in this town still and we happen to find it, hurrah! But I do not intend to have our group, you know, venture across the plain to, track down the feathered individual if that's the case. But if we can learn anything while we're here and pass that along so that the rest of the keepers can do their thing. So yeah, I only mean to gather information, not to quest after this presently.
Okay, I promise that's all I'd say, so that's all I'll say.
Anything else to do before you pick up your scroll?
I think I will go and talk to Lauxius and see if he's ever heard of a white feathered individual that was described. Just see if that just seems like a very important detail. The shroud of white feathers seems like a magical item that might be known, possibly. So just ask around, and then any of my free time, I think I'm just gonna wander the city, casting locate object, and see if I get a ping. But other than that, I don't have anything.
The
Um,
upturn of
Oh, sorry. I was just gonna say very quickly. I'm gonna be right back, but I do want to have a conversation with Torek before we move on. If this doesn't take.
okay. The upturn of both Hyacinth and Oz's mild investigations in the limited time you guys have is nothing. Oz even reaching out as far as you do to uh, essentially contacting Candlekeep,
Mhm.
there is nothing. This people can recognize like the research or the feedback is that something like this feels like it should be something noteworthy, but nothing on record has ever been placed about
Oh,
something
yeah.
like this.
No, I mean it was a long shot. Like
Yeah.
it was the hope that that was some association with some known organization, but it's also like just some possible that it's just some crazy wearing a feathered mask and wrote like, yeah. So that makes perfect.
Right, yeah.
So we're not going into the ruins to find the crime scene. This was right. I just want to confirm that that is what we are all understanding.
I think so.
Look, Torek, anytime you want to go in and poke around, just let me know. I'm always itching to get in there.
I mean, I'm happy to go in, but neither you nor myself are the seekers. So, if I don't know, maybe he left some sort of dying message or something. Well, yeah, I can draw it. I can write it down.
I mean, I have been trying not to put everyone at unnecessary danger, but it is something I would like to do. I just do not feel comfortable asking all of you to risk yourselves in such a way for something that is not, I don't know, profitable.
Well, two things. One, unnecessary danger is kind of our shtick. And
Speak for
two,
yourself.
you haven't been in unnecessary danger since meeting up with us.
I don't like it. I don't seek it out.
I think technically for
Kind of stick
Torek,
it out.
for Torek, it might be necessary danger because the necessity is Mel is going into danger.
Hmm.
But technically,
Well,
That's got
hit-
nothing to do with Mel. I'm just saying, it's not like I am excited about the idea of walking into one of the dangerous places in Luskin.
The other
But there
thing,
is a even more dangerous relic that doesn't belong on this plane that I crosses his fingers almost had. Like, we almost got rid of it. One less thing that doesn't belong in this world, and now it might still be here.
which was my second point, the public good of it all. I mean, I know I can't speak for you, Hyacinth, but I'm doing fairly well financially. And so profitability,
I can't.
Holy shit, that was happened.
profitability is not exactly my biggest concern right now.
That was brutal.
Thank you.
That was.
Any chance I get to remind him that he owes me money.
So basically, we got to decide: are we doing this or not? If we're doing this, we need to just get off the chamber pot and do it.
I don't know. I think it's kind of already been decided that we'll continue with our contract.
All right.
Cool.
I'm back for you.
Okay. You had a intended conversation, is that right?
Yes, with Torek.
All right. Do you have a time, like a point in the day or a degree of privacy that you seek for this?
Probably just the two of us at some point. Probably later in the day when I know he's also not doing anything.
Okay.
Yeah, not hard to find him. He's probably pulling pieces off of a firearm that is taller than he is.
Hey, Torek,
Yeah. What's up?
mind if we have a chat?
No? Never do? What's up?
Something piqued my interest the other day. Coming back from the pleasure cruise, I was doing paperwork, and something happened.
That's nice and dramatic.
It was incredibly dramatic. My record book flipped back to a name, Jakash.
Yep.
Yeah. And it kept happening. And so I reached out to Yurgle rather directly, or as directly as I can manage, and asked what was the significance. And I got a cryptic answer as always, but it did. Yurgle did tell me that I was correct. By saving you, I was executing his will.
Yeah, I thought that was why you did it in the first place.
Yes. I mean, half of the reason why I bring it up to you is because that conversation with Oz kind of. There were doubts of my own ability. This kind of solidified that I've been doing well, and my sense for things is pretty accurate. But for some reason, I couldn't help but to maybe connect that to your experience. While dead.
What experience?
None of it.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Nothing happened for me. I died. Everybody says that. Well, not everybody, but those Legion bums said that, oh, you'll see the kobold, you'll see our new god. Yeah, well, there was nothing there.
New god? Sorry, it's been a while.
Yeah. Well, look, my tribe, we're old school. I follow Asgaroth, god of all dragonkind. I am. He gestures to all 2'2" of himself. I am, technically speaking, a dragon. Born of the dragon god. There's plenty of folks don't see it that way anymore. They follow the Oryx, and that didn't happen. Nothing happened when I died. So
Sorry, Violet needs to compose herself for like 3 seconds. Well, I'm not quite familiar with the dragon gods. The only thing I know is historically there have been some. One that comes to mind, Bahamut, that lost the mantle or was killed or something like that. I haven't studied up on this specifically. Asgaroth still holding his mantle?
yeah, Asgaroth never lost it as far as I'm aware, and Bahamut's
Then
back,
what is your
I guess, and of course Tiamat's still out there. A lot of kobolds pray to Tiamat, not really sure why. She is, half of Asgaroth, so I figure, why pray to one of the halves? Pray to the whole thing.
Beside the point, If he's still holding the mantle, what is your afterlife like? Like, theologically, what is believed?
Oh. Well, it kind of depends. The greatest of kobolds are supposed to be sent back in the next hatching. Usually within the same tribe that they were serving. For those that don't get born again, I mean, our lives are supposed to be spent in service to the dragons and the dragon gods, or failing that, we're supposed to be searching for Colonel Mac. But come to think of it, there isn't really a whole lot of what goes on after. I mean, I assume that we just end up in the afterlife doing the same things we're supposed to do in life. Plenty of full dragons have made their way into Asgaroth's realm. I think.
Well, that is the confusing part. Because you said you experienced nothing.
Yeah.
You were
I don't-
dead. Like,
Yeah.
dead.
Maybe it wasn't dead long enough.
DM, can I roll to see if I know if that's how that works? Can I please?
What do you mean specifically?
The dead long enough to matter?
I don't think you need to. Like, you know that the rules of magic mean that the rules of magic dictate that there are increments of time that allow anyone to be brought back from the dead from the moment they die, the moment their heart stops and their brain ceases to function, to infinite. A true resurrection can bring anyone back who has not even a corpse remaining.
No. Dead enough time to like like your soul to go somewhere if it's going somewhere.
Right, exactly. But this magic will not exactly supersede that time. The concept of seeing a divinity or something beyond your death isn't something that is universal. Especially with like how
yeah, I
things
guess
have
so.
kind of changed. Like, some creatures may experience an afterlife because they like without having ever prayed to a god, and there is no way to know if that is immediately or centuries passing their death. There's no way to know that.
Well, I mean, is it because the accounts are variable? Is that it?
I think that would probably be how your religion reconciles it.
Because like the only reason I ask is because I do like souls are a thing and they end up going somewhere or just wandering, but they like typically like go somewhere, right? Yeah.
But there's not
even those who like are not faithful or like lost or whatever, they end up like
somewhere
traversing the Shadowfell to get to Yrgol eventually, right? Or somewhere. Somewhere in between. Something.
But that block of time between the awareness of life and the awareness of being a soul, there's no way
Gotcha.
to dictate what that time stretch is. Especially because between planes, mortal and unliving and all that, time is different everywhere.
Yeah, that's true. Oh
It's a
man.
bit. I mean, you have asked a very big theological question about a fictional world.
No. I know. I just was wondering if there were like established mechanics in that, like when you die, you're taken somewhere almost immediately. Like it doesn't matter where your soul gets pulled back from. If you get revived, you're taken somewhere.
Right. I don't
But
think, especially because Revivify can be fast enough to supersede an interaction with a divinity. There,
which
there.
is hilarious.
Yeah, yeah.
Imagine talking to your god and being like, I am so proud of you, disciple. And then getting like yanked back in the middle of like, I will grant you all the power and the no.
Yeah, the stretch of time has no way to be measured.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Well,
Sorry, that doesn't help a whole lot, but
it doesn't. But I will respond to Torque saying, well, I'm not sure that that's necessarily how it always works. I know that that isn't necessarily helpful, but there was just something that piqued my interest when he said that I was doing his will, and whether that just be doing diligent and correct work, um, it also might have something to do with you. And I thought I should let you know, so if I dump something really large in front of you, uh, it won't be everything all at once. It will just be a continuation of this um brainstorming session.
I don't know what you mean by dump something in front of me, but
Uh,
I'm. Go ahead.
like, ugh, and just you being important to his work. I don't know. I usually don't get directives other than from the church. But still, uh,
Yeah.
something that interested me that I wanted to run by you to see if there was anything odd about your experience, other than the fact that your Legion mates said that you would see something that you did not.
Yeah, it was a major sticking point. It was part of why I left. I mean, you know that. You
Yes.
it's why I found you on the road up here. Caught back up with you. I wish I could tell you something helpful. I really do. The fact that I died and didn't experience anything that everyone says you'll experience is, I mean, it was confusing for me then. It's confusing for me now, but that doesn't really matter in the end. I'm still here. I'm still able to carry on the work that I do for Asgaroth. I'm able to keep looking into the past of my people. Hopefully fix our future a little bit. Get us back on course.
Back on course? What specifically do you mean?
What do you back? What do I mean by
Your
back on?
people back on course. What do
You
you
know,
mean by that?
kobolds acting like kobolds,
And not like...
not like all the other races here. We're kobolds. We're not humans. We're not whatever else. Whatever. I guess it was. Well, no. I guess we are kind of like lizard folk. That makes sense. We eat bodies like lizard folk. That makes sense.
And other kobolds aren't behaving like kobolds. I'd say anybody who's behaving like anybody if they're behaving like themselves. Good or bad.
I spent some time in the new kobold city, which should have been a wonderful thing, but it's not. It's there are the shared warrens are not always used. There's a lot of not kobold work going on. It's strange, and it's
Not kobold work as in not serving Asgaroth?
not Asgaroth specifically, but kobolds were created for a reason. We have a purpose. We have a reason for our existence, and to ignore that reason, it
Well, I
sort of
mean-
spits in the face of our creator. And I
Does it? I mean, they're alive. That should be something, I suppose, to measure
now.
success.
Of all the people in this party, you are the one who should know that there is more to all of this than just living.
Yes, but at the same time, I don't think that... I don't feel that the devotion to everybody to your goal is necessary or good. There are those of us who keep the work up, those of us devoted enough to, but eventually everything will fall to him. I will never be upset or against somebody else's worship or think of it as lesser. It all goes to the same end, even yours. And I think in the eyes of a creator, uh, kobolds are not automatons. They are conscious beings. If your creator wanted, I don't know, subservience, it would have been put in you.
It was.
Clearly not.
It was. We have Kurtlemek as a god now because of the rage of dragons. We didn't have our own god before that. We didn't need one. We served, we did our bit, and then we were returned to Asgaroth, and he could send us back to serve again, or I don't know. He's a god. He can do whatever he wanted, I guess.
That's what I mean, is if there's room for divergence, then there is not.
Well, I mean, that was once we were dead, not while we were alive. I mean, don't get me wrong. The first kobold settlement was created because we served so well that the dragon we served, we being all kobolds, not me, I'm not that old, served so well that they were given a place to build and make their own. They still served that dragon until the rage took her. This is all getting very, very philosophical.
Sorry,
it's
it
just as easy
is.
for me to say I'm old and I don't like what these young kobolds are doing. I don't believe that they. I think that they have probably been led astray a little bit. I don't truly believe the stories of this god of theirs. It's a lot. It's a lot to accept. Whereas Asgaroth is proven. Asgaroth is the reason that we kobolds even still exist. So
Well, let me know if anything comes to you, or if you have any similar experiences. Please feel free to share your aftermath if you continue living.
yeah. Yeah, of course I will. I have no idea why Yergel would take any sort of interest in what you did for me or in me at all. What I have to do with his will.
That's
But
why this is pure conjecture and not me interpreting this as a sign. However, perhaps it was my doubts that in the question with Oscaron raised in me that Yergel just showed me that I have no reason to doubt, or you are important. But one of those is true, and either one is consequential, and I figured I'd let you know.
I appreciate that. I will keep that in mind for my prayers to Asgaroth tonight.
Thank you. And Mel will just sort of excuse herself.
All right. I think. Oh yeah.
I was just gonna say, I imagine Torek sits there for a minute, looks around like he's trying to find someone, just goes, "What the fuck does all that mean now?"
Let's take our 15-minute break. Be back at 20 after.
Sorry, we got real philosophical there, Ted. I did tell you it was coming. I did warn you.
You told me there's a conversation coming. That's it.
I sure do. I sure did. Look, having my god be like, yeah, you're right about this one. You're doing good, kid, was wild. Wild, especially considering that what you call it, Yergel isn't as like, cryptic or anything as like the Raven Queen or some shit, but like
Yeah.
he's still not like, things don't really matter to him. So like contacting someone is like wild. Yeah, by the way, Max, that absolutely kind of like that absolutely fucked me up for that whole entire until session ended.
I'm very, very happy.
Yeah. Man, last time I got contacted by a god, I got fucking executed for it.
Yeah, you did.
I sure did.
That was fascinating.
Technically speaking, the last time Zira contacted a god, she got an offer of rescue. Throwing that
Hey,
out there.
That's, you know what? That's
according to
true.
Toric, that god isn't real.
All I'm saying is, I'm
Eat
old.
shit,
I
Ted. Your
nearly
god that
died.
you made isn't real.
Yeah, see that's why I had to kind of recover for a second, because I'm like, holy shit. This dude is like, it's like, yeah, Oryx lived and ascended to be a god. She's just not real.
All I'm
It's
saying is, if the Oryx is a god, where was the Oryx when I died?
yeah.
There was no Oryx, therefore the Oryx is not a god. That's all there is. That's all I'm saying. That's all there is to it.
The most pragmatic view of religion.
I mean, yeah, I get it. What you call it? Although your thing of might not have been dead long enough, like that is very interesting, because it is both like almost for and almost counter to your stance on Oryx.
Yeah, which is one of the I will not be joking. This is something I have thought about because of Torik's backstory. And I definitely think that it will be very important that there is no way to know how long it will literally be before you are shepherded to whatever fucking afterlife you get. Like that will become important information.
Yeah.
And as far as I'm aware, like, that is all left very, very nebulous on
Yeah.
purpose.
Yeah.
It also makes the existence of soul coins all that much more horrific, because the general consensus is, like, other than the greatest of heroes, most souls when you die don't do anything. Like, you go to, your soul goes to its afterlife and all of that, but it's not like that person is then running around in
Yeah.
in that plane, because living people can go to those planes.
Yeah.
The ones that are supposed to be the afterlife. So it just the nightmare of, yeah, you're supposed to go to your afterlife and just sort of not exist, but instead you're in this little scrap of metal being tortured for eternity, and maybe if you're lucky, you'll be used to power someone's car while they careen across Avernus.
I don't know what you could be talking about.
Imagine a party with a conscience trying to, like, go through that. I mean, like, you have to start questioning your gas tokens. Like, all right, were you a good person in life or a bad person in life? Bad? Okay, you can go in the bone grinder, no problem.
Oh my god.
And then like
All of us were just like
Oh, we were the worst.
the worst people. Like on like as far as like moral scale goes, like Secret and Altus were definitely the strongest, but both of you were both incredibly swayed by the fact that we were in hell.
To be fair, when we knew we would not require them anymore, we did set a bunch free. Well, actually, we gave them to Carlos to set free, but
I trust Carlos. Carlos has a better moral
implicitly.
compass than no, not implicitly, just with this task.
Well, yeah, his dietary choices were beyond questionable.
He's not invited to the
How dare you.
polycule.
I do remember Altus's love for the spaghetti tacos. It's okay.
Fucking monstrous.
I hate the phrase.
Yes, I
spaghetti.
agree. Delicious.
Hard shell?
Yep.
That's tough.
That's tough, Cody.
I do
2023.
No, I mean,
look. This
no, I
has
mean
gotten
they
a
were
little
they
out
were
of hand.
crunchy, but they certainly weren't tough.
I will say, as the inventor and role player of Carlos, they were never spaghetti in a taco shell. It's taking a piece of buttered bread and putting spaghetti in it and eating it like a taco. That's always what it was bid, because that's something I used to do.
Sevens cannot get on board with this, and nor can I. Spaghetti will be
I am
eaten with a fork.
1,000% positive that there are pictures of spaghetti tacos somewhere.
Oh, definitely.
Look,
Also,
it was misconstrued immediately
Yep.
on Carlos mentioning it. But that was the original intention, was buttered bread holding some
I
spaghetti in it.
I fully understand that may have been the original intention, but this is a cooperative, imaginative game, and if the party just took that phrase "spaghetti tacos" and ran with it, well, then we've given birth to the beautiful, beautiful culinary joy that is like spaghetti and marinara sauce in a hard taco shell.
Oh, Jesus Christ. That's disgusting. Oh.
That for some reason evoked spaghetti nachos in me, and I want to go crawl in a hole and cover the top.
Spaghetti nachos sound delicious.
Uh, for fuck's sake. So, of course, spaghetti tacos has to be some bullshit fucking Nickelodeon thing.
It's from iCarly like 10 years ago.
Yeah, of course it does. A fucking goddamn
Another
it.
reason why I want to make clear I was not trying to reference iCarly in that D&D session.
I'm sorry. I'm
was
sorry
not
you did it this way.
I was not trying to reference iCarly in this D&D session.
I think
Best
also
quote
the fact,
from
yeah.
this.
I think also like his name was Carlos.
Mm.
Like that's a
Carlos?
Also
Spanish
didn't mean
name.
for that to happen. Look, I
Did you
again,
ever
like, this
use
is
the
the reason.
interjection Carlos?
No, absolutely not. I would never make
Thanks for saying my joke, but louder, Cody. I appreciate it.
Hi,
You
Miles.
weren't loud enough.
You need
Carlos
to go to bed.
came from the same place that all the other bullshit NPC names have come from, like
Manny
Schmidt
Manhattan.
and Manny Manhattan and etc.
Wait, did you name an NPC etc.?
Not yet.
Actually.
Etc.
Not yet.
Okay, well, we're gonna race to it then.
My game comes first.
It's Tyler's got first dibs because he plays
Yeah.
this week.
I've just renamed the Harpy Queen.
Oh my god.
That's fine. I'll just have to go into last week's Waterdeep recording and do some voiceover work. It'll be fine. Don't worry about it.
Adam, I really need you to do like an overly clean like ADR.
Yeah.
Etc.
Yeah.
1 second.
Mhm.
Oh fuck! I should probably go and get food. One sec.
All right. Who we got? Adam, you here?
Mm-hmm.
Cody? Doug? anybody here? Ted, you with us?
Yeah.
I'm back.
Violet? That was Cody, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Violet, you with us? I keep seeing you light. I assume that's you hitting the... I can't tell if she's with us. I think we're gonna... Hello? Okay. I think we'll pick up because I think we are at a point, and please correct me if I'm wrong, where we can take you guys to your final day um with your scroll being ready, which means you'll get a scroll, and then Hyacinth will need to sit down and I guess you could probably do that on the boat, huh? Scribing. Do you guys have your materials for that?
I believe they were purchased at the time that the scroll was ordered.
I think they were.
Yeah. And okay, 3rd level transmutation, so it'll take me 6 hours.
So I guess I should check if there's anything you all feel like you need to handle before you head out to sea.
I've returned.
Awesome. I think we're just missing Doug, but sounds like you guys are ready for departure. Is that right?
I think so.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, great. So you can meet with Captain Ernid the Keen for this with his vessel, the Stormcutter, which is an impressive war vessel. As Luskin is premier craft is a premier craft and export of black powder. It is outfitted with black powder cannons, which is very exciting. Not unfamiliar to many of you, but probably for like Hyacinth and likely Mel, still sort of foreign to see up close and in person. The captain introduces himself very curtly, provides you with the corner of the deck that is dedicated to you and your number. You each have a hammock, one hanging over the other. So between the 3 of you, or the 6 of you, you take up like 15 feet of space best. It is fairly cramped. There's like 2 chests provided for your gear to be stored in as well. The expectation for those who are fitted or capable, Ernid does express appreciation on deck, labor on deck is appreciated, but that seeing as you are paying for your voyage, it is not expected. Available work would be cleaning, maintaining the galley, helping feed the other crew members, or general labor if you are specifically skilled in water vehicles. Otherwise, he does not want anyone underfoot.
Clarify for me. How many days is this past our meeting with Rolt?
Past, it would be two past the meeting rolled. Yep.
Okay, so we are on the 1st of Tarsak.
Hey, that's neat.
Yeah.
Not to once again ask everyone what you're doing on the boat, but what's everybody doing on this vessel? Nearly entirely crewed by uniformed hobgoblins who are incredibly on schedule, and have a very immaculate and organized rotating routine. Um, this is not as fun as your last boat, obviously.
I'm doing homework for the first 6 hours.
Right.
Oz will attempt to engage in some hard labor on the deck. And I mean, he's got that military precision thing, but also he is not a sailor, so he may be shooed off of the deck.
I think you have the capability of performing some of the tasks in labor. But like the moment the bosun is making calls, you know it's going over your head. So you are given like a task and that's the thing you do.
Yeah, I mean, I imagine for Oz, it's a lot of like swab the deck type stuff. Like, there's
Right.
nothing glamorous about it.
Hayes is definitely doing the same. I think Hayes is also like testing out, like knowing that we're about to go into water and go underwater. She's trying to do a lot of manual labor while like changing her weight, essentially, to try to like
Jesus
determine like a
Christ.
functional, like still being functional, right? But also weighing as little as possible.
That's so weird.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
Not a thing she would have ever thought to do. Like, who the fuck jumps in the water and is like, now I want to sink. I want to go down.
Inks, is there anything you are specifically handling or attempting?
um, I think she would just kind of stay out of the way of everybody because she doesn't know what she's doing on the water.
Okay.
So I thought it'd be fun to do more blind training, but since Hazel's occupied, she'll just like walk around with a blindfold on.
You very, very quickly get like put into the galley and the door shut just so like you are no longer bumping into moving people's legs.
All
While
right,
doing
so then
blind karate.
yeah, she'll just try to traverse the galley without bumping into things.
Okay. Torek, what does that leave you?
Torek is definitely staying out of the way. At first, he's like, hey, I can help navigate. And then it quickly dawns on him that navigating the seas is very different from navigating over land. And he is not at
You
all
look for a
familiar.
line mark, you see nothing.
Wait, what do you mean you can't navigate till nighttime? What is this bullshit? So then, yeah, he's just gonna stay out of the way. My initial plan was to, hey, Inks, when you are done walking around in a blindfold, you gotta, the hell are you doing? You know what? You got a minute?
Sure. I mean, it's not just walking around the blindfold; it's super secret martial arts training. But
Sure,
what do you want to talk
sure.
about?
Yeah. Hey, wonder if you would be willing. I saw you were able to sort of dismantle some of those traps back at Moonvale.
Mhm.
You know, open locks, that kind of thing. Those both seem like skills that might be very useful to my profession.
I would imagine so. I'm surprised you don't know it yet.
Well, I can put them together, but that's more of a function of protecting the old Warrens, so we never really felt the need to take them apart. Also, we didn't really use doors. There were no trees because it was a desert.
Mhm.
So just not really skills I learned. But if you got the time, I wouldn't mind learning.
Yeah, give me another hour of this, and I'll come find you.
All right, I'll be in the cabin. I'm just gonna curl up on Pecoreva and I don't know. I'll figure something. I'll be in there. Is the point?
Inks will put her blindfold back on and immediately run into something.
Torek closes the door and you just Okay. I'm assuming there's not like a mechanical thing involved with sitting. Hmm?
I'm sorry. With what?
With what you were doing.
I'm asking to learn how to use thieves' tools to
Right.
train. I think is the mechanic. But
Okay.
that's like a downtime thing.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So that will take the time and the money to learn the skill.
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah.
I
Okay.
imagine I will spend some time breaking a bunch of lockpicks in an attempt to learn how to pick locks.
Yeah. Yeah.
After you break Inks's first set, she will make you go buy your own.
Yeah, you can just like how Doug is doing when we have the time to do it. If you're sitting down for a day to do it, you can record it. I'm fine with like the money getting paid up front, and then just when you have downtime recording the 8-hour work day to do it until you're trained.
Oak.
Mel. Oh yes.
Just real quick, until further notice, Inks, I'm giving you Gift of Alacrity every morning.
Yes.
Mel, what are you doing to occupy your time?
I can I can probably help in the kitchen and or like doing any other labor that needs to be done. I suppose that isn't like necessarily skilled.
Mm-hmm. Peeling
Just like home,
potatoes. Yeah.
peeling potatoes.
Okay. And Hyacinth, is there anything that you do besides your scripting?
No, I think like I'm gonna spend a lot of time in the hammock, try to find a place up on deck that I'm not like in the way and just like look and observe. But yeah, I don't think there's anything in particular I'm doing.
Okay. Trying to think if I needed to send you any more information. I don't think I did. Okay. Well then, you have 4 days on the water. That as per calculated by the distance. On the third day, you guys are still out on deep water. The coast is sort of a hazy edge on the horizon, sort of clouded by mist and some fogs as you are traveling farther south. And some of the more stony cliff sides every once in a while interrupt the horizon just so. The farther out onto water you are, the less traffic you are seeing. And that sounds silly, but as close as you can be to the coast, there are ships that are trying to sail quickly and navigate one around another. You see these forms just kind of cutting around and visibly past you, mostly headed north, some headed from Luskan as well, though traveling substantially not as quickly. And occasionally breaking through rivers along the coast as well and out onto open water. Haza, you're actually trained in water vehicles, right?
Yep.
You've spent time on a ship briefly.
Yep.
what was her time spent doing that?
Definitely like scrubbing the deck.
Okay.
I don't think she made it much past like the very most basic menial labor.
Okay.
The kind of thing that you could learn a lot just by paying attention not to your task but to other things out of boredom.
Okay.
Because all you're given to do is clean this part, carry this from here to here.
Okay. I think then, as the early day on your third dawn of travel, you and Oz are attempting to make yourselves useful below deck in cleaning. Hey Tyler, I think I heard Miles getting into some mischief. uh, um, the two of you, most of the like commands that are offered are a blend of common or goblin, a little bit of the undercommon that kind of comes through in Luskan language, but primarily as per ships of this scale, you are hearing most of the like ship-wide commands being offered through the bosun's whistle. However, like you do hear one of these calls. Neither of you, I think, have. It sounds like the peculiar experience to have the calls memorized, um, uh, but you feel the wind change, and you see some of the sails being snapped into uh, different directions. The ship sort of begins to tilt, not tilt in any concerning amount, a degree, but you feel the vessel turning and turning in towards land. You're still a ways from the horizon, but you feel the change in course rather abruptly and see that the crew is accommodating to make it so.
Sorry to be that person again. This is the third full day of our journey.
Yes.
Okay, so, and that includes the first.
Yeah, so this would be the third. Yep.
Yeah, I'll look to Oz and say, you felt that?
Oh yes.
All right, so we need to have a conversation with someone. Probably start with the bosun.
Yeah, let's go.
Yeah, you can find the bosun who's watching as some crew are scaling ladders to pitch the sails.
Yeah, Haza like snaps to attention, is like, ups, sir.
Turns to you and uh, gives you like the nod of continue.
What cause do we have for turning around?
Not turning around. First mate passed on, headed for shortened heading, and points to the horizon, where you do see, like, again, you're like towards the coast, towards land, towards other vessels.
Do you know why, or should we contact next person up the rung?
Captain may have seen an opportunity.
All right. First mate it is.
You go and track down another person.
Uh-huh.
She has very little time for you, as she is currently shouting more direct orders for direction, and she, as you are getting closer, and can hear her a little bit better, she is calling several of the crew to quarter, which is to prepare for battle.
Ah,
That answers your question, doesn't it?
yeah. Haza walks up. Permission to contact the captain. It salutes.
Permission questioned.
I don't have time for this. I'm going to go.
Yeah,
I
you
go to
go.
talk to the captain.
She begins to intercept you. The two of you have the ability. She is more busy with what she has been ordered to do than to find out what you are doing. And you can find him in his quarters.
Hi.
Good morning.
Care to tell us, your paying customers, what's going on?
We have a particular vessel that is a bit of an outlier in its transportation. We have the opportunity to bring some extra home if you give us about half an hour.
Extra what?
Extra property.
What is the nature of this vessel?
Southern vessel, probably a trade ship by the size of it.
Well, look, this wasn't part of the deal. You're under our command. We're the paying customers.
Paying customers, correct, but a paying job for more coin in my men's pockets. You can understand the priority.
And what happens if your customers get killed during this battle that we didn't pay for?
I wouldn't be worried about that. It does not look like an armed vessel. And seeing as it isn't, there will be no need for you or any of your companions to bother boarding. You may remain here, as I said, half an hour.
What is your
And if we
typical
say no?
haul? Go with his first.
Why don't you make me a? Would you want to make a persuasion or intimidation check?
I'm not trying to intimidate him. I'm genuinely trying to get the answer. So I guess just a persuasion check.
Can I
Yeah, sure.
assist?
Oh, can you assist? Sorry.
Yeah.
I don't know why I thought you said and I assist, and I was just yeah, sure, yeah.
There you go.
A lot higher.
He says. He says. Then I would hope that we are going to be compensated for the diversion from extra reward. We are, after all, still under the command of the Corps and do have obligation too.
Which leads then to my question. What is your typical haul for a vessel like this?
We could probably bring on about an extra 100 gold.
And if we pay that, you're square?
I think that'll be sufficient. It'll save us on powder.
I glance to Oz.
I'll put 5 platinum pieces on his desk, and I'll say, "You'll get the other 5 when we're done with our purchased itinerary without any interruptions."
He nods, takes the coin, and puts it into a lockbox. Then steps out of his outside of the quarter doors, calls for the first mate, speaks to her, and then she begins calling back out belay quarter, and things slowly begin to like righten. Um, there are several soldiers who are like preparing armaments, who cannot hide their confusion, um, uh, but accommodate as commanded.
Hizzo lean into Oz and say, nicely handled.
Thank you.
Do you want me to pay the other half?
We'll worry about that once we've finished with everything. I do think I should probably have an additional conversation with the captain a little later, try and smooth this over a little.
I guess the good news is we paid for people to not get hurt.
Potentially.
The theft is, but somebody probably would have been hurt. You don't get weapons ready for no reason.
That is certainly true.
All right. Per your inference, do you intend to speak with the captain early or later?
Yeah, I'll let some time pass and then go seek the captain out, maybe after dinner time or something.
All right. You're kind of already getting the sense, kind of as you had interpreted when you were kind of sussing out his reputation. Um, Obviously, still a proud individual, but he has a very specific reputation. For like whatever whatever seems to be the easiest score is certainly going to be the most rewarding. So he does not have what you would probably ordinarily fear to be a haughtiness to your what's the word? Uh, um,
It was a demand, like it
yeah,
kind of.
yeah. Um, Confrontation, I guess. Yeah, yeah. Like he does not appear to have like wounded pride when you
Right.
find him later.
He's very pragmatic and he's in it for the most coin. And so,
Yes.
yeah, got it.
Yep. Yep.
Um, you have time for a quick word?
Absolutely, Mr. Von Gerard. Takes you
I
in.
just wanted to apologize for my tone earlier. I don't mean to usurp your authority as captain of this vessel, but this is a charter, and the mission my friends and I are on, quite frankly, we can't risk being delayed nor being injured along the way.
I understand. I am familiar with maybe not the territory exactly in which you're headed, but well enough in the direction. What is it that you and your companions are seeking in these cliffs?
Well, it's less about what we're seeking, and it's, I think, more about where we're seeking it. We plan on spending a significant amount of time under the water.
He nods. You must understand, it is a laborious task to run a vessel. I have no shortness of sight when it comes to the opportunity to travel, experience opportunities on the water. I do appreciate that you have the sight to acknowledge potential risk. I would assure you, of course, it would be damn foolish of us to offer to sail you anywhere with the expectation that any one of our passengers could be hurt in the process.
Well, I understand that, and I understand the commitment that you have to the well-being, both physically and financially, of your crew. That is admirable. And ultimately, I take our conversation this afternoon as just further confirmation that at least for the duration of this particular journey, we are all rowing in the same direction.
He smiles and gives you a bit of a salute. Not as formal as ordinary, but still.
Very well.
Should there be any other
I'll,
concerns, Mr. Van der Aar, please address them with me.
thank you kindly. I will take my leave.
And that is a potential encounter evaded. I anticipated you would try to evade it, so it's not like I'm very upset about it. Following that night, as the sun rises and wakes you all perhaps a little bit more naturally than when you are within the city and inland, the sound of water as it sort of rolls over the sides of the vessel is accompanied by another sound. All of you can hear. It feels distant and eerie. You hear the sound of mourning someone who is both in song and in sorrow, very far from where you, or far enough away it feels, um, to be odd to hear it so far, so far from land. And as some of you may rise and take to the main deck to perform whatever tasks or get some fresh air or whatever, you see that you are somewhat closer to land than you were before you had gone to bed. You see many cliffs and rocky beaches. You see pretty severe surfaces of gray stone that are barely topped with scrubby brush. And you see pockets in the stone where water has rushed and crashed and formed overhangs and caves just at the surface. And you see also um, one such mass of rock that has formed a bit of a peninsula um, in kind of an odd, not so jagged a shape, um, but rough and still rather uninviting. Where two stone cairns, quite tall, um, carved with sigils, stand prominently along its mostly flat surface. And between these two cairns is the figure of a very pale woman with very, very long black hair who seems suspended between them by her wrists. Um, and this is where the sound is coming from. Uh, the first mate approaches, likely Oz, and says, "This would be your first landmark. Supposedly, the caves that you're seeking, they are along this cliff face somewhere. Presume underwater, since the captain has made mention that is where you are next destined. Is that correct?"
I'll inform my team and let you know what the plan is. Thank you.
She nods and leaves.
Yeah, I will go round everybody up and let them know that they suspect this is our This is our first landmark.
Sorry, the landmark is a woman hanging from her wrist singing a sad song? Like, is it a person or is it like a statue?
I hope it's a statue.
She's moving.
I don't think that's a statue.
Yeah, that was wishful thinking.
What in the name of Ogma should we do about that?
Do we just get in the water? and just go?
We got another day of travel, right?
Well, they indicated that what the cliff fronts that we might be looking for may be down under here.
Ah, okay. And it sounds like what we do is breathe water and get going.
It is truly fucking crazy that we're intending to just jump out of a perfectly good ship into the water.
And just to be clear, we're just going to ignore that. And I'm pointing up at the woman.
I don't.
Yep.
Everybody, all the sailors seem to be, and
Is anybody like taking notice of this? Like
Oh,
it's
yeah.
something weird or okay.
Yeah, no, there are a lot of like there's like double takes as the crew is rotating for the morning shift.
How close are we to this suspended woman?
300 feet.
Oh. You there? Hi.
You see the head lift, but her face is still covered in lank and very wet hair.
Why not just ask the crew? I mean, I'm assuming some of them been out here before and seen this.
Well, look at their faces. They look as freaked out as we are. Like,
I mean, I figure the captain or the first mate or somebody
I'll turn around.
has to have
Anybody
seen
know
this
what's
before,
going on?
right?
I guess. Anybody? You?
Uh,
Have,
This here, every time y'all come out here.
someone says, illusions might be, or I mean, there's any sort of weirdness within the ocean, is there not?
okay,
But just so
so
I'm clear, this is not always here.
A few of them seem fairly even like seasoned sailors do not seem to recognize this.
right, and so let me get this straight. Your vote is for ocean weirdness.
That's sort of the blankets that is the sailor's equivalent of saying it's magic.
Right. Got it.
Magic
I-
happens, weird shit happens. Like
I
there
mean,
are demons who live in the water that just devour vessels whole. Like this is not the scariest thing, but it is freaky. And the best thing that they are all expressing is don't fucking engage.
I'm concerned that if we go swim over there, right, and then we get there, and then it's a fucking trap, and we all get eaten.
Well, yeah, I think that's a reasonable concern, but also if it's a trap, then it's safe to assume that there's something around that set it,
True,
which means
true.
there are probably more of them. So it would probably be good to suss out whether or not it's actually a trap.
Can we do that from a distance?
I don't rightly know. I'm considering that very question as we speak.
Pretty sure I can.
I mean,
Have
you
at
just
it.
gonna don't. I mean, maybe don't if
Nope,
it's.
never mind. I don't know thaumaturgy. Never mind. I thought I did.
Oh,
I thought you were referring to the gun.
I thought. Yeah, so did I. I definitely thought we were going to see Torek pull out a rifle. It's like I can tell you whether or not it's an illusion right quick.
I'll aim for the foot.
I would just like the record to show I was not the one that went
Yeah,
to
no.
murder.
You're in the
No,
right here.
no.
This this is me and Adam.
No.
I'll look at our two like more magically inclined in Hyacinth and Mel and be like, so. Guess not to our more magically inclined Oz is here. Either of you have any ideas, or do we just jump in the water and start sinking?
I mean, the captain seemed pretty straightforward and, expecting this and saying it's a sign of our destination. I mean, I can't do much to identify this woman without getting much closer.
Maybe we go ask the captain first.
I thought the captain was the one that told us, "Oh, look, there's a woman floating above the water. Guess we're here."
It was the first mate.
Oh.
From this distance, they're like they're not on like a structure, right? Like it's just floating out of the water.
She's on this like landmass peninsula that has these two stone like I'm saying cairns just because they're not like carved rock, they're just marked rocks. Um like she's on land, but just because of how kind of small the land mass is, she is not protected by the elements or from the elements at all.
How many rowboats is this vessel on?
What do you mean how many?
Could be like 2.
Why do you need more than one?
Well, because if we want to take the one, they're not gonna let us take the only rowboat.
That is correct. Okay,
So we
that's
gotta
fair.
ask for
I thought
multiple.
I thought you were asking if you could have more than one, and I was
No,
like,
no, no.
no,
It's
absolutely
just the
not.
knowledge that no fucking boat would give their only rowboat.
Yes.
For no amount of money would you give up the rowboat.
I mean, like they do expect that but part of this is that you guys are going somewhere. Um if they were to give you a rowboat, they'll probably put one of their own men on it to be able to row it back.
That's fair. And then yeah, Hazel would say, "Do we want to try to row a boat over there? See what's going on?"
Yeah, I think we should.
Should
I
we?
mean, there's not a whole lot out here, so we're going to have to. How much land actually is this peninsula, like beyond this peninsula? Is this like full on continent, or is this like a tiny island?
This is fairly. It's still like within. Sorry. This is on the continental coast, but it is sort of near the mouth of a river a little ways. So it's still like ocean water, but like it's sort of around the bend, I guess. So it would not be like as easy to see while sailing north and south, if that makes sense. It's like it is connected to continent, however.
Also, to be clear, the contract states that the horde, as far as we know, is somewhere on the seafloor. or something like that, right?
It just says underwater.
Yeah. So rowboat and ask the maybe a trap a question. Maybe she knows the way. I don't even believe it as I'm saying it, but like that's what we got.
It would be
I'm
awfully
sorry,
convenient,
Cody.
though.
I can't let you go with that phrasing. Not again. I mean, it's the only way to figure out what it is.
All right. In the rowboat then, and hopefully it will contain some clues as to where we're actually headed.
Okay. One of the sailors can help lower prepare one of the disembarking vessels and load you all in. It gets a little cramped, but a couple of you are smaller.
Especially with a
And
giant weasel.
yeah, there is the weasel. Oh, we should get the weasel
Also-
on my.
Hey, hey, Hyacinth, do you want to do the breathe water thing first, or
Yeah, it shouldn't take any time at all. and
how long does it last?
24 hours.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it feels like we're gonna go out over water into a trap near water.
Better have
Chance
that
of drowning, yeah,
later. Yep.
increases
Yep,
the
yep.
second we leave the big boat.
How many can you do?
10 people, including myself.
Great.
Perfect. Orc is very clearly intimating Pecoreva, the weasel.
Mhm.
You want to get the rowboat guy just in case, or
Yeah, I'll
Get
get
the rowboat
Weasel and the
guy.
local guy.
yeah, just so he can swim if he needs to more easily.
Okay. While you are rowing and getting closer, I need everybody to make me wisdom saving
Wisdom
throws.
saving throws. Yeah, it's a siren.
I mean, like, this is for
I
something
think.
else.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Come on, please don't do the thing where I roll bad for something that I'm proficient at. There we go.
We know I'm gonna fail these. Hey.
I will
Damn.
use an inspiration to re-roll that.
Oh my
wisdom
god.
save.
Holy shit, Pecker.
Letting my 11 ride. Fuck it.
Okay.
Overboard.
Okay. As you are getting closer, most of you continue to hear the song being sung and can kind of, you feel like you are beginning to hear words. But the language seems to evade you. Something is clear, that there is rhythm, there is tune, there is repetition in the language, but you do not understand what is being said, all except for Haza. Haza, you hear in the words. This woman, she says that she is trapped here until she is freed. She cannot be released on her own. She also says in the words of her song that she is a prophet of an old world that is being punished for her divination and can see farther than the eyes of mortals. She knows answers to questions before they are asked, and knows how to find long buried secrets.
Is this is there a constant refrain, or is this just one long, slow, continuous song as we're approaching?
For you, it has a repetition as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think the rest of you catch Haza first murmuring along to it, and then trying to see if she could pick out the words verbally, and by the end of it is reciting it. It's like, she's singing an actual song. You all hear it, right?
I hear it, but I don't get a word of it. What is that?
I don't know. She's singing. She could see. She's a seer, or a kind of a. But she's being punished for her gift, and now she knows the answers to things, and she needs to be. She can't free herself. She has to be freed.
How come only you can understand her?
I don't know.
What languages do you know that we don't?
I know common, gnomish, and undercommon.
Unless it's in gnomish or under,
I don't think it's in.
then I don't think we're missing any languages that you share with it.
Can I stop and attend to whether I think it's gnomish or undercommon?
I mean, you can you know what gnomish and undercommon
Yeah.
sound like.
Well, it's
this is
the not
definitely
thinking
not
about
that.
it until you think about it, and then you're like, oh yeah, it's not.
Yeah, it's I don't think it even takes you a moment.
Yeah,
it's definitely not.
it's not any of those languages. I don't know what language it is.
Well, that's not concerning at all.
Yeah, this
I
screams
mean,
trap.
yeah, I'm concerned. I Nobody else hears the words are pretty clear. Not even a few of them.
Nope.
All tilting to me.
Okay.
Authentic inspiration.
In case I am being compromised actively right now and don't know it, I might have to defer opinions about what to do next. I don't feel particularly compelled to go help, right? I just can clearly hear the story.
I am not telling you that you are magically compelled.
Yeah, but
I don't know. Are you compelled?
Hayes is compelled. Hayes is compelled by the story and is concerned about it. I genuinely feel like we should help her, and I do not know if that is because I'm the only one who can hear the story or because I'm being mentally affected by it. So, I have to
mean-
defer on this one.
If she is a seer of some sort, well, perhaps she can. That type of ability could be very useful.
She knows the answers before the questions are asked. It's part of the song.
So think of a question and see if she answers it. If she doesn't, she's you know, exaggerating her abilities.
Should I be asking? It feels like I shouldn't be asking questions.
You're the only one who can understand her.
Yeah. I wonder if she can understand us.
Hey, you there!
Her head lifts again, and you can see her a little bit more clearly. The
My name's
song
What's your
Oz.
favorite fruit? Did she answer before I?
the song does not really like the song kind of ends, and you see that her hands in the bonds that are around her wrists sort of flex so she can grab the rope and pull herself upwards a little bit, like more to her feet. And Haza, you briefly hear over the sound of the wind, you can hear me.
Yeah, none of you heard that.
None of you can
Heard.
understand, no.
I mean,
Again, heard yes.
I heard Toric
Comprehend,
ask
no.
what her favorite fruit is.
I can hear you. Did you hear the questions asked by us?
Her head shakes.
But you can hear me?
She pulls herself up even more correctly, so she's properly standing on her feet.
Did she answer before you finished the question?
No, she hasn't answered since the first. What?
I'll sort of lean in close to Haza. Don't ask it out loud, but think about the question of where it is we need to go to find this horde we're looking for. See if she answers that before you
I
ask it.
will. Yeah, I'll try. I'll think the question
Uh,
and gauge her response.
in sort of the midst of Oz's request, her voice carries like song again, and she tells you that she is unable to prophesy without freedom.
She can't answer while she's still bound.
can you at least ask why we should believe her?
Yeah, I'll call out. Who are you? You sang the song, but who are you actually?
An oracle of the depths.
I'll relay the words out loud.
A seer cursed from my sight.
By who?
By who?
After-
The master of my realm. Called Feldrick.
Hey. I can fear from here.
History check, I guess.
That's the water elemental that has taken the stash.
Ah,
Mm-hmm.
Or water
got it.
genie.
I remember
excuse me.
now. Yes. That is your master who punished you?
Her head bobs.
Why is it only I can hear you?
You have a soft heart.
Haza nods, like Haza nods and closes her eyes very slowly before unwillingly repeating that out loud.
Mel will kind of look around and go, yeah, that tracks. Wait, How come Oz can't hear?
Soft heart, more like soft head. I will pull out the musket and start aiming at the chains.
At the chains.
Sorry, Torque, were you mayhaps listening to anything that she just said?
Yeah, I can't
She's-
understand any of it.
No,
I was-
what Hazel was relaying.
Yep.
Yeah, she's some like powerful seer.
Mhm. Seer of the seas, punished by our upcoming enemy. Yep. Caught all that.
Right. You think a water genie would put somebody like this in normal bonds? If those
What
were
is a
regular
magic gun?
It is.
I'm gonna
What's the word-
Mel-
what's
What's not
happen?
clicking?
It's gonna
Yeah.
not work, and
I
we'll
will-
be right where we are.
I will
Mel
call
just
out
kind
to
of
her.
pauses and says, "Yeah, okay, fine."
I will call out to her and say, I
Duck.
I am soft-hearted. I have to concede that. I want to trust you. What are your chains made of?
Made up. You feel her stare from this distance as she tells you that only you may remove her bonds.
Oh, fuck. The oh fuck comes before the repeating it out loud. Only I may remove her bonds.
Oh, well, you're not using this. You're gonna have to get out of there.
No, I'm gonna have to get out and go over there.
Yep.
Okay.
Sorry, Haza.
I need everybody whose judgment isn't completely compromised by the magic lady to tell me what is advisable here, because I want to go free her, even though she's probably just gonna immediately devour me or something out of a song.
Well, the good sign is that you can still think that you might be charmed and are deferring to us for a decision. So, if my little arcane hypothesis is correct, you're fine. Go get him, Tiger.
That
Mel
doesn't-
just kind of like punches, gives her a little sock on the
I
shoulder.
don't know if you meant that to be reassuring, but it was maybe
Well-
less than you anticipated.
Well, you're not being magically coerced.
That I know of.
Well, again, magic coercion really doesn't do much if you can defer to other people for, confirmation that you may or may not be being coerced.
I'm going to think a question to her, which is, I really do want to come for you. Are you magically coercing me, and are you going to kill me?
There is no response, just her like beginning to strain against her bonds.
Can you just give me it's still internally, just give me some reassurance, because I want to help you. I just want you to say it if you're capable of it.
She just stills and looks at you.
Okay, gang, what's the vote? Damn it.
I think
Well-
it's worth trying.
I mean,
to-
this should be a vote of one. You're the only one that can do it. It's your call.
Yep.
If you
Sorry,
need to
Haza.
get out of there, I can do what I can to get you out of there. But
Yeah. You're going to have our support if you get, this is a trap.
You should
If
make a deal with her. I mean, it sounds like you're gonna release her, so we might as well get something out of it.
Well,
I look at Oz, who has been silent for a bit. What do you think, Oz? Oh, I forgot I did BRB.
no Oz support on
Yeah.
this one.
Mm,
All right. How far away are we from her currently?
You're hanging out at about, we'll say 150 feet.
Okay, get me closer so at least you're around for when this goes terribly.
Yeah, the rower will. How close do you want to go?
The little island, I assume, like, only is it big enough to
Mm.
stand on?
Yeah, yeah.
Uh,
Oh, Oz is
get
back if you want to snag his
well,
opinion.
well, as we're approaching, I'll turn to Oz and say, "What should I do it? What do you think?"
Give me a quick recap. What are we doing?
Releasing the witch.
Save the woman. She's supposedly being held by the bad guy that we're here to get the horde back from.
And she's asking Haza for help.
To release her, yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
because I'm kind-hearted, I guess. In other words, failed the save. Only I can let her go. So it's gonna
Well,
have to be me that lets her go.
Haza, look. On the one hand, I think it's a bad idea. But on the other hand, in the short time I've known you, I find you to be an individual that would rush out to help any last individual that lost a coin purse. So I can't see how you in your right mind could let this stand. So let's go get it done. And
Okay. Yeah,
All right.
as we get close, I'm gonna tell everyone, like, do you want me to hop out here and swim the rest of the way, or do you want to get...
well, you're not going alone.
I will
Can you put
say, because she's straining right now, right?
Uh, she has like fought to pull herself to her feet, has strained against the bonds, and is now just sort of braced and waiting for you to make, like, effectively to make your decision. It seems like you're getting closer, so she's like just waiting.
Yeah.
yeah,
You were asking a question?
row this thing as close as you can to the shore, and then we'll get out.
All right, you're trying to get as close as possible.
Mm-hmm.
All right, about 30 feet from the shore, you're told that you might run aground, so you have to get out.
Haza just immediately vaults the side,
All right.
starts swimming.
Son of a gun. I'd head over as well.
You can breathe underwater. How much effort do you do to like stay above the surface?
Haza would actually probably check on the water breathing, like drop for a second to go below and see how it works, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, and then if it works fine, just stay below the surface because it's easier to swim below the surface to get there.
Okay.
Don't have to fight the waves on top.
You duck below. You blink in the darkness. You see several glowing eyes blink back.
Yep.
Do you continue?
Several glowing eyes blink back.
Mm-hmm.
I put on my dark vision helmet.
Okay. You see forms beneath the surface. Humanoid nearly, but with many aquatic features. Gills and frills. Less hair, but some of them have some gleaming strands and adornments. They're watching you. Every once in a while, one of their mouths open as they speak to one another. You can't understand them, but you see sharp predator teeth behind their lips.
How many are there?
You see maybe 4 immediately.
Haza blinks at them for a second, and then pushes her way back to the surface. Just, I guess, see Oz probably also jumping in. Hey, there's 4 fish amphibious people down here looking at me.
Right. Well, let's get to the shore quick then.
All right. Well, if I get pulled down or attacked, just so everybody's aware of what's about to happen,
Would the two
Shag.
of you like to fly to the shore?
Yes, yes, a lot.
I'll 4th level cast fly on Oz and Heza.
Okay.
Well, as long as we're flying, Haza. Thank you, by the way, Haza. As long as we're flying, no reason to stop at the shore. Why don't we go right up to her?
True. As we approach, I'm going to ask internally, who are those people under there?
You hear back. I will answer one question for my freedom. You will be gifted, you will be granted one cosmic question upon her release.
As we're flying, I'll dip in closer to Oz and say, she has informed me that in exchange for her freedom, I'm to be given one question. Any question.
Oh, congratulations.
I don't know what I'm the wrong person to ask a question of an oracle.
Well, there's any number of things you could ask. You could ask, where is this hoard that we're looking for? Feldrick is holding on to. You could ask about the location of Midwinter. You could ask who killed Jex. You could ask any number of questions from your personal life, perhaps about your former mentor. You could ask if there's a cure for what ails inks. Any number of things.
If this is the domain, we could be reasonably sure it's down there somewhere. The vault we're looking for.
It does seem like a reasonable guess. However, down there somewhere still involves a lot of exploration.
Should I ask a practical question then, or a cosmic one?
Oh. The question is yours to do with as you wish, Haza. I think you need to ask something that you desperately want the answer to. I think you'll regret it if you ask something simple.
All right. All right. Let's focus on the freeing first. Question next.
Yeah, I mean, there's a good chance we'll both be dead before you get to ask any question.
Yeah. That's a comfort. Yeah. Sort of a win-win scenario now. Yeah, I'm gonna as we finish the last little bit, probably hovering a bit before we fully get there to have the conversation. Drop down fully in front of her.
She watches you descend with an exhausted and hungry-eyed expression.
I'll land right behind Haza.
Okay. She stands at about your eye level, and her mouth is just barely parted, but she does not speak anymore. Her hands are still grasped around the suspending bonds, and her knuckles are white.
I'll say out loud, well, I don't want to ruin my question asking how to free you, so I suppose I'll just hit one of these bonds and we'll see what happens. Looking at her to gauge any kind of response to that.
Her head just barely nods, but her whole body is tense.
Yep. Yeah, Haza summons the sword into her hand. And probably using the the leverage flight gives, raises up a little bit to bring the sword down on the one on the right.
It melts like butter. You feel no resistance, and it yields immediately. And even at the severing of this one cord, her other bonds come free, and she doesn't collapse, but she falls forward.
Yep, Haza will go to the other one, glancing for a moment back towards the water line to
Yeah,
see if they're
she's
reacting at all.
free. Yeah, she's free.
Okay.
Yeah.
Then yeah, if she's free, I think as she's falling forward, Haza reflexively leans forward to catch her.
Yeah, she just falls onto your shoulders and in your arms. You've got the sword in the one hand, but
Yeah, I get rid of the sword so that I'm legitimately carrying her.
uh-huh. She finds her feet under her, and thank you.
There are questions I want to ask you about you, but I don't want them to be interpreted as the question that you say that you owe me.
Make me a persuasion check.
Okay. I will use an inspiration. I got one. Just burn it. Okay.
She says, in my release, I am inclined to follow my own will, but for your kindness, I will grant you personal questions.
The first. What is your name?
Delphine of the deep. I am not from here.
Are you from down there?
She says there are ways to find my home by traveling far, far below this surface.
How long have you been bound here?
The time has lost meaning to me. I have been a prisoner for most of my understanding.
Do you need anything more from us, or are you capable of getting to where you need to go?
She looks in the direction of the water and says, I will find sanctuary myself.
There are 4 individuals in there.
My
I don't know.
sisters.
Oh, they're related. Okay. I was worried that they're guardians of, well, of the one who put you here.
Their own punishment is in guardianship of myself.
We intend to go deal a blow to the one who imprisoned you here. That is why we are here. That's why we crossed paths with you.
She gives you a nod of understanding. You can see tears welling.
It is not the question that I want to ask, but if there is anything you would like to tell us to assist us in getting revenge on your behalf, I would be very happy to know it.
To answer that question would be to grant the favor I owe you.
So you are compelled not to then, one presumes, but you probably cannot answer if you are.
She
She
just
just, yeah, she
blinks.
just holds up a hand like she's answered her own question. I'm gonna glance to Oz, uh, and say, "Can you go tell the others that we're okay?"
Will do. I will do my best Tinkerbell impression and fly over to the rowboat.
I'm gonna whisper you my question.
Oh,
Oh shit.
If I remember how to do whisper.
if you want,
There
you
we
can
go.
just DM it too.
Yeah.
Hayes is definitely asking, what's the sound of one hand clapping?
Okay, is this my question? I think this is my question. Okay. That's the question.
She leans close to you, puts a cold hand on the side of your face, and you feel her cold breath against your ear as she whispers the answer. And as soon as she does so, in a fluid motion like a salt breeze, she vanishes from your view as she flies into the water and immediately vanishes with hardly the water rippling.
Yeah, Hazel's like stands there for a second, turns around and like throws a wave to the boat. How much longer do we have left on flight, you think, Oz?
I'm back at the boat.
You've got
Oh,
time.
yeah.
Yeah.
Uh, yeah, I will, for a moment, fly up and see if I could see anything, like, around. Any structures that are only visible from, like, a height looking down, like, with sun cast through the, like, probably not even structures as much as, like, patrols or something keeping an eye on us.
Okay. I'll say that you do not see anything
Yeah.
out of the ordinary.
Okay. I'll descend back to the boat. Well, that's done. I don't know where we're going though. So
Suppose at this point we dive in.
I suppose so. Could I? It occurs to me I was gonna try to write something down, but I don't. Water.
Ooh, I hadn't thought about water in my book. We have a bag of holding amongst the party somewhere, right?
Yes, I have it. Do you
If
want
you
to hold it
open
so
a
you
bag of
can?
holding underwater, does it start filling with water?
No, because you have to reach into it. Like,
To put something
Mm.
away?
yeah. Like, I feel like with magic items, there should be an act of intention. You know what I mean? Like,
I tend to agree, but I don't. I think I'll have to think about it. But I
Hold
don't
on.
know how well putting things into the bag will work while you're underwater.
I'd love to hear a wild Crawford weighing in on on what rules as written is for bag of water, a bag of holding underwater. All right, I might need to write something down then before we hop in. And then maybe put it in your bag. Yeah, she starts to write something down, and then she like begins to and just stops. Turns to inks.
Okay, so I did a bit of reading, and it does it require intention. Because you can't like hold on. Yeah, you have to like actively put something in it. You can't just like have it catch things.
Putting something into it
It
is an
it is
answer I'll take.
It is a deliberate action
rather than I think
rather than
Yeah.
a passive action.
you can't hold it open and someone cannonball inside.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Correct.
Okay.
Or, like,
All right.
have a bird fly inside.
I'll take it. I'll take that. Sounds
I
good.
will look to Inks. I'd say, I know we're not really in a space to have a moment, but I'm gonna write something down and I'm gonna hand it to you, and it's for you, okay?
Is it something I should wait to read?
No.
So I can read it as soon as you give it to me.
Yeah, and you can read it to the group if you want. It's just not mine. Does that make sense?
Not at all, but I assume it'll make more sense when you give it to me.
Yeah, I will write it down.
You have a history of being vague.
I feel like the bag of holding in water thing is like
I sent it to you on Discord, Doug.
if I wanted to put
Oh my, sorry.
gallon jug of water into the bag, I could do that, but I couldn't
Yes.
just like scoop a bag full of water, you know?
You
Yeah.
could scoop water into it.
Mhm.
It's
With
just
but
it
by
would
handful.
yeah,
Yeah.
by a handful. It would require you reaching into the bag to put it away. But,
But
you
you
could
can't-
fill it with water. Yes,
But-
correct.
But you couldn't stick it under a spigot and let it fill.
Right.
Yeah, like if you opened the bag in a a vacuum, an airless vacuum, would all the air in it suddenly rush out? Like
Well, there is no air in the bag of holding. The bag of holding is a vacuum.
there is
It's an
air in
airless
that vacuum
space.
because you can breathe in it for 10 minutes.
There is a very limited amount of air in the bag of
Oh,
holding.
Yeah, there's-
interesting. No, you're right.
Presumably, each time it's opened, a little bit of air gets in because of physics. Just because it has to.
Ironically,
Yeah.
air gets in because the bag gets opened, but water will not because the
Yeah,
bag
I don't
is not
know.
open.
I don't know.
Yeah. Well,
But yeah, I
it's still
hand the
important
note-
rules. Yep.
I hand the
Ocean
note to-
weirdness.
across to Inks, and Hazel's expression is completely blank as she just hands it to you and then begins like making sure that her armor stayed in place after the brief dunk into the water. Adjust the like width of her shoulders to make sure it stays on right.
Inks takes the paper and she reads it, and she just puts a hand up to her mouth and kind of gasps for a second and just sits there.
It-
and then, sorry, go ahead.
It isn't a nice one, but it is something.
Why?
Why what?
You could have asked anything.
Yeah. I was considering, and I'm going to be honest, it wasn't my initial suggestion, but once it was mentioned, you don't talk about it much, but it matters to you more than some of our stuff matters to us, I think.
She just runs and hugs you.
Yeah, Hazel like freezes up for a second at the like waist check hug.
It's probably not even that high.
Yeah, like reaches down to like lift Inks up. It's like it's okay. It's not, like I said, it's not a nice answer, but
It's more than I've ever gotten so far. Any of us.
Hazel shrugs and like looks at the group and is like, sorry for the awkward, but
We can talk about it when we're done with this mission. We should focus.
Yeah, she like nods as she gently sets you back down from the hug. Haza does glance over at Oz very briefly and like sneaks a wink.
Um, I forgot my fucking name, Inks. Inks wipes a tear away from her face and just says, "Okay, all right, who's first?"
And we'll pick up there next week or next session.